The British Council Success in IELTS webinar. I'm Seville and I'm your IELTS trainer today. As I've said earlier, today's session is exclusively about the reading and writing tests of IELTS. And we're going to cover top tips and very useful information about the exam. So I think we're ready to start. Let's go to the next slide, please. Well, on this slide, I want to talk about the IELTS format briefly. I think in the new presentation, this is the only general slide about referring to all parts of the test. As you see, the listening test is the same regardless of whether you are taking the academic module or the general training module. The speaking test is also in the same format. However, that doesn't mean that every single question will be the same. The reading and writing tests on each module are slightly different. And of course, on tonight's show, we are going to cover many details about these two tests. And let's not forget to mention the timing of the test. IELTS takes 2 hours, 44 minutes plus 10 minutes transfer time, which will be given to you at the end of your listening test. And any questions here, ladies and gentlemen, anything to do with the timing or the flow of the exam? If not, I will be moving on to the next slide. Okay, I've got another brief slide I forgot I put this slide actually. So IELTS results range from band scores of 9 to 0, as you might already know. The IELTS 9 band system is used to measure and report scores in a consistent manner. Examiners are trained in line with globally accepted standards to ensure consistency and equality of their assessment. And well, we won't focus too much on the band scores today, but if you would like to get further information, you can find the band descriptors, the public versions of band descriptors on takeielts.britishcouncil.org. And the next slide, please. There we are. Okay, so we are ready. Are you ready? Actually, we are definitely ready. If you're ready, let's get started with the reading test. Wow, thank you for your answer, Gunnar. Right, so I want to start with the nitty-gritty of the test. The facts and figures. The reading test takes 60 minutes and you have to answer 40 questions, ladies and gentlemen. The test is divided into 3 sections with a total of around 2,500 words. There are several different question types. You might have to answer multiple choice questions, or you might have to match headings or similar things. I also prepared one slide on the different types of questions. So don't worry, I will be going through these question types. You will see a list of question types for sure. And I will show you, oh yes, actually, wait, have I covered this? Okay, I talked about the timing. I talked about the total number of questions. Right, okay. First, there will be no extra time for you to transfer your answers. This is very important. So you have to transfer your answers as you answer the questions. And your answers must be written in pencil only. Don't you forget. It also applies to the general training as well. Now, on this slide, guys, I wrote some details, again, the nitty-gritty about the IELTS reading for the general training. As you know, there are some differences between the general training and academic modules. In the academic module, there is just one reading text in each of the 3 sections of the test. These are taken from books, newspapers, magazines, and so on, and they're on academic topics of general interest. There might be diagrams or graphs in the text as well. In the general training module, however, as you can see on the slide, the sections might contain more than one shorter text. So in section 1, you might see several short texts that are about the same topic. In section 2, you will see 2 texts about a work-related topic. And in section 3, you will see 1 piece of longer text. You need to be able to read for gist, as you know, a general understanding of the text, and you also need to be able to find particular details and also follow an argument or theme in the texts. I'm looking at this slide. I think this slide is completely covered and there are no questions so far. All right, let's move on. So, this is my list. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a list of IELTS reading task types, question types. Please have a moment to look at the list. I suggest you familiarize yourselves with these task types before you take the test. Well, by the way, I know how you feel. I'm an English teacher, besides from my job at the British Council. So I'm with students every single day, and I do understand your concerns. I understand how you feel. True, false, not given, yes, no, not given questions are particularly hard, you think. I just want you to be very careful with this. When a statement is false, then there will be information in the text which directly contradicts it. If you can't find any clear information that does that, then you should choose not given. We will be doing some practice, some sample questions. Don't worry. But let me repeat this again. In the true, false, not given questions as well. I mean, you have to do this for all the reading questions, but especially for those. Make sure you find the reference sentence. If it's true, why is it true? Find the sentence. If it's false, why is it false? Find the sentence contradicting the question. If you can't find anything, then it means it's not given. And so I think I've said it clear enough. And all that matters is what the text actually says, not what it suggests or what or how you feel about it. Your predictions do not count. We will, as I said, we'll be working on some sample questions shortly. And I think you had enough time to see all question types. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Essentials. Okay, how can you improve your reading skills? I regret to inform you that there are no shortcuts. There is no magic. If you want to improve your reading skills, I have to suggest read as much as you can. And the more variety, the better, of course. Read newspapers, magazines, journals. I advise my students to read 2 articles on environmental issues, 2 articles on technology, and 2 articles of their own choice every week. If you read at least 6 articles every week, you will see how much you improve in such short time. How about the reading? Is it short or long? Now, Maryglyn, in the academic module, the total word count of 3 texts, as I said earlier, is 2,500 words. Divided into 3, around 800 to 900 words each text. So I don't know if you consider it as a long or a short text. Well, for me, it's not that long, to be honest. You know, every day I'm dealing with much longer text in my life. So it depends on what you think. This is the word count I can give you. I can also say that texts in the academic module, because in the general training module, there will be very short texts as well, like half a page. In the academic module, however, the text will most likely to be 1.5 pages long. All right. And then, so time, practice, and persistence. Do not give up. I hope you know the meaning of persist and persistence. I just wanted to put that cool word up there because, well, I'm an English teacher. I really want to teach you some words as we go along. You're very welcome, Maryglyn. I hope that was a satisfactory answer. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay. So, some essential skills that I think you will be benefiting from. Now, ladies and gentlemen, both people who are interested in the general training and the academic module, you all have to listen to me very carefully, because these skills apply to both tests, both modules. While you're studying, practice reading skills such as skimming. I want to start with skimming. Skimming means looking over an article or paragraph to identify the key themes or general ideas. This includes paying attention to titles, subtitles if there are any, keywords, and topic sentences. As to scanning, it is, as you know, when you're looking for specific information, perhaps a number or a name or a date. If you know the specific type of answer you need to find, you don't need to read every single word in the article. Well, for example, if let me think of a good example. If you know you need to find out how much money something costs, run your eyes quickly down to the article looking for a number with a currency indicator, most probably. Then decide if this is referring to what you're looking for. Skimming provides a bird's eye view of some material. Scanning helps you swoop down to locate the specific details you need. Another key skill is intensive reading. This helps you to understand the details in an article when you practice reading tests. Don't read an article intensively to begin with. This is a common mistake. First, skim the article quickly. Get a general sense for what the subject of the article is, and look at the title, any headings or diagrams. Then I would suggest read the first sentence of each paragraph, and maybe the last sentence too. Read the first and the last sentence of each paragraph to determine the theme of each paragraph, and make notes around the article as you do this. Remember, you are free to use your pencils. You can underline words, circle words, make notes if you wish. So then you read with specific purpose. Read the questions carefully and be clear what you're looking for. Once you have skimmed and scanned, you're prepared to analyze the questions carefully, circling keywords and thinking of synonyms for those words. Don't expect to find the exact same words in the article. All right, so these are the essential skills, and we also covered the essential three tasks, which were, remember them? Can we go back again, please? Time, practice, and persistence, especially in reading and writing. As I said, I'm with students every single day, and I know you want to pass this test as soon as possible and start planning your careers, start planning your futures. I understand that perfectly well. But with reading and writing, I'm afraid you need a bit more patience, a bit more persistence. You need to be reading a wide range of authentic materials in order to succeed, in order to get a good grade in IELTS reading and writing. Let's move on, please. Next slide. All right, now. So, in the earlier webinars, this is what we didn't have time for, but now we do. I want to talk about some question types. Since true, false, not given is the winner, I want to start with this. By the way, on this slide, I've just realized a mistake. Not given. There's an extra T at the end of not given, which is interesting. Oh, has to be my mistake. But maybe not my mistake. Because I remember I used a picture for this, but anyways, we will correct it later. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to give me 1 minute, because I want to move the chat box to another place on my computer screen, because I want to be reading the text. All right, wait, and I want to see your questions as well. Right, lovely. But something came up. Why is there this? All right, okay. I think I'm okay now. So, anti-intelligence. That is the title of this text. This is taken from past IELTS papers for your information. Now it says, during the course of this exhaustive study, Reznikova has grown so attached to her laboratory ants that she feels she knows them as individuals, even without the paint spots used to mark them. It's no surprise that Edward Wilson, in his essay, In the Company of Ants, advises readers who ask what to do with ants in their kitchen to watch where you step. Be careful be careful of little lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, the essay, The Company of Ants, explores ant communications. This is the question. Would you say this statement is true or false or not given? Now, I want to see your answers on the chat box, please. By the way, while you are giving your answers, I would like to I'm a teacher, so I want to focus on these words, exhaustive. What does exhaustive mean? Does anyone know? My students sometimes confuse it with exhausted, exhaustion. Oh, that's why I want to pay attention to this word as well. Not given, not given. It doesn't mean tired, I'm afraid, Hala. It's exhausted means very, very tired, but this is exhaustive, an exhaustive study. Yelena, very good, detailed. Ladies and gentlemen, exhaustive means complete and including everything. I would use exhaustive for a study, an exhaustive report, and so on. By the way, thank you very much for your answers. The correct answer is not given. Yeah, because in this paragraph, we cannot find any information about what the essay is actually about, right? We only know that the author is advising readers to do a specific thing, but nothing else. We cannot contradict this statement. That's why it cannot be false, and it cannot be true either. So, Tazo, I'm afraid it's not false. It is not given. I have just given my justification. I hope you understood. If not, please let me know. And shall we move on to the next slide, please? Right. Now I need to move on the chat box again to here. So here we go. Again, it is from the same text, ant intelligence. So the paragraph says, ants store food, repel attackers, and use chemical signals to contact one another in case of attack. Such chemical communication can be compared to the human use of visual and auditory channels, as in religious chants, advertising images and jingles, political slogans, and martial music, to arouse and propagate moods and attitudes. The biologist Lewis Thomas wrote, ants are so much like human beings to be an embarrassment. They farm fungi and raise aphids as livestock, launch armies to war, use chemical sprays to alarm and confuse enemies, capture slaves, engage in child labor, exchange information ceaselessly. They do everything but watch television. Now, the question is, ants use the same channels of communication as humans do. What do you think? Trues and false. Well, many trues and some falses. Many, many trues. Oh, one not given, two not givens, three not givens. Not given. All right, wow. Thank you for your answers. Now, first of all, I have to say that people who said the answer is false are correct. And why? I think, well, there's a trick in this question, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, there is something in the middle of my screen, and now I cannot see the text. Oh, now, wonderful. It disappeared. It disappeared. Lovely, lovely. Great. Now I'm going to organize my screen like this. Wait a sec. Oh, perfect. Now I have solved the problem. Now, the trick is the sentence here. Ants are so much like human beings to be an embarrassment. They farm fungi, raise aphids as livestock, and the sentence goes on. Now, the analogy, the similarity here between human beings and ants are not about their communication, about the way they communicate. It is about the activities they're engaged in, such as farming fungi, raising aphids as livestock, launching armies to war. They do everything that we do, except from watching television. So here, the ants use the same channels of communication as humans do. No, they don't. But but they are engaged in the same activities as humans do. Has my answer satisfied you guys? Wow. Perfect. 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 I'm so happy to see good feedback. Great. Lovely. Now, why don't we move on to the next one? Oh, actually, I'm very sorry. Can we move back again? My teacher blood is burning now. Ladies and gentlemen, now, there are some words that I want to ask. I was thinking of these words, but then I forgot. Okay, so what does repel mean? And store food and repel attackers. I think it's a good word. Reject. Wow. No idea. All right, let me think. Well, to repel attackers, to repel someone, to repel something, it means to force something or someone to move away or stop attacking you. I would say the defenders repelled the attack without losing any men, for example. Kind of push back, Yasemin. Absolutely. Yeah. Force something or someone to move away, to go away, to stop attacking you. Exactly. Very good word. And then let me see any other words here. Well, there might be some words that you don't know, but some cool academic words I want to talk about. How about ceaseless? Right there, at, almost through the end. Confuse enemies, capture slaves, engage in child labor, and exchange information ceaselessly. Any ideas? Non-stop, Emil. Thank you very much. Exactly. Continuous, without stopping or seeming to have no end. Absolutely. Now, by the way, I might have missed one question. Wait, let me see. So you all guessed the meaning of the word. Thank you very much. Now, I think this is Stefan. Such chemical communication can be compared to the human use of visual and auditory channels. It can be compared exactly, but does they say, does the question say, do they use the same channels of communication? No. But how they communicate, they use chemicals to communicate. But we don't use chemicals, and there is no channel in my body that I exhale chemicals to communicate with someone. But there might be a communication. Very good point, though. Yeah. It can be compared, but they're not the same channels. All right. Was it a good answer, by the way? Yarden, I'm afraid it cannot be not given, because there is actually there are two pieces of information which contradicts with the question. Actually, I'm very glad that Stefan brought it out. The sentence saying such chemical communication can be compared to the human use of visual and auditory channels. So we have visual and auditory channels are what we use. So Ants can't use this. They use chemicals to communicate. So we cannot say that we use the same channels. But the second tricky part is, as I said, the quotation from the biologist, ants are so much like human beings. Yes, they are like us. They're engaged in many activities as we do, but same channels, same channels. We have to focus on every single word that the question offers. Is that okay? Great. Perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, now, ceaseless, I wanted to focus on that. And I think that's all. Yeah, these are the most important things. Let's move on to the next slide, please. All right. Now, again, one back. William Henry Perkin, please. Thank you very much. As I said, these are all taken from real IELTS papers. Now, William Henry Perkin, that is the title of this text. At the time, quinine was the only viable medical treatment for malaria. The drug is derived from the bark of the cinchona tree, native to South America, and by 1856, demand for the drug was surpassing the available supply. Thus, when Hoffman made some passing comments about the desirability of a synthetic substitute for quinine, it was unsurprising that a star pupil was moved to take up the challenge. All right, so this is a text. And the question says, the trees from which quinine is derived grow only in South America. Would you say this is true, false, or not given? Not givens, true, not givens. One more true. Why not given? Okay, question there. False, I have seen. True, I have seen. One more T from Mina. Laura says it's true. Olha says it's true. Victoria says not given. Irene says true. False, I guess, says Urgan. Samsung Galaxy says not given. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you very much for your answers. Now, I have to say, people who said the correct answer is not given are correct. Now, why? Why not given? I have seen this example too. Now, why is that? It says the drug is derived from the bark of the cinchona tree, native to South America. Okay, this tree is native to South America. It means it is probably, it grows there naturally. But we don't know whether the tree grows only in South America or not. Coffee is native to Colombia. Coffee is native to Vietnam. I worked there for some time and I remember drinking delicious Vietnamese coffee, but it also grows in Brazil. So, because of this, we have to say the answer is not given because we don't know whether the tree is only grown in South America or not. But we know for sure that is a native plant, a native tree to South America, this beautiful cinchona tree. That's why the correct answer is not given. And there were some questions about some words. All right, I would like to cover some words as well. What does viable mean? I love this word, viable. Any ideas, ladies and gentlemen? Quinine was the only viable medical treatment for malaria. like vital, useful, practicable. I don't know that word, I'm afraid. Workable, reliable, essential, vital, applicable. Well, I would say if something is viable, it means it is able to work as intended or able to succeed, like feasible, actually. No, viable is not the name of the tree, by the way. Name of the tree is cinchona. Viable means, as I said, able to work as intended or be able to succeed. For example, let me think of an example. Oh, right. Okay. Imagine we're talking about a plan. It's a plan that we made at work, and you have to make sure that this plan is financially viable. You have to make sure that this plan is economically viable, commercially viable, or if you are going to make a speech, you should make sure that the speech is politically viable. Does that make sense? Am I able to teach you one word? Because I want to teach you some words, as I said, as we go along. I want these presentations, I want these webinars as useful, as productive, as fruitful as possible. Now, do I have my notes? No, I don't have my notes with me, but let me try to remember. What did we do? We did exhaustive, remember? We talked about an exhaustive report, an exhaustive study. I hope you will never forget this word. And then we talked about repel. And we said to force someone to go away, to force someone to stop attacking you. So that way. Oh, Kaneen, um, that's just a substance. That's the name of the drug that is derived from the tree itself. That's the substance, let's say. Is that okay? It's yeah, look, at the time, this substance was the only viable medical treatment for malaria. They couldn't treat malaria any other way. And this substance came from the bark of the cinchona tree. Do you know the bark of a tree, by the way? It is the hard outer covering of a tree. That's where not the top, Irina. That's the hard outer covering of a tree. That's where this substance was found. Crust. Wow. Yeah, I know what you mean. So we did, I was trying to remember exhaustive, and then we did repel, if I'm not wrong. And there was one, oh, right, ceaseless. Ceasefire, ceaseless, no stop, without stopping, continuous, you guys wrote, which was correct. And now in this text, viable, I think it's a very cool word. And I'm thinking desirable synthetic substitute. Oh, what about this? Synthetic substitute. How about that? Oh, Gika, you can't use viable as survival, but you can, like feasible, possible, you could use. Substitute, well, not substance, actually. Alternative, wonderful. I like the word alternative. A thing or a person that is used instead of another thing or person. For example, I've got many vegetarian and vegan friends, and well, as you might guess, they do not eat meat, and they think when they're cooking, I mean, when they cook, I really like their food because instead of meat or as a substitute to meat, they use tofu, and it works very well with lots of food. I love it. Right. I'm looking through the text, and I think we have covered everything. Shall we move on to the next one, please? Thank you very much. Now, this is not a true false not given question. I need you to find a word, a specific word here. And actually, that's a clue. The answer is one word. If I'm not wrong, I did not write the answer somewhere, but I think it was. Let's see, shall we? So don't think of the answer as it is one word. Think freely and tell me your answer. Here we go. Step wells. Some wells are vast, open craters with hundreds of steps paving each sloping side, often in tiers. Often are more elaborate with long stepped passages leading to the water via several stories. Built from stone and supported by pillars, they also included pavilions that sheltered visitors from the relentless heat. But perhaps the most, oh wow, answers started coming in. But the most impressive features are the intricate decorative sculptures that embellish many stepwells, showing activities from fighting and dancing to everyday acts such as women combing their hair or churning butter. Which part of the stepwells provide shade for people? That is the answer. Now let's see. Pavilions, pavilions, included pavilions, pavilions. You all seem to get the correct answer. Wow, I'm impressed with you guys. Well done. So, provide shade and shelter visitors from heat. As you see, they will not, the Cambridge exam makers, exam writers, they don't use the same words. They would use the synonyms. So be aware. And you all seem to be doing very fine. And what about the words? Does everyone know what vast means? VAST. Vast, exactly, Mina. Wide, yeah. Extremely big, very big. Large, yeah. Very good, very good. Oh, what about elaborate? Elaborate, elaborate. What about that? And by the way, this word is a tricky word, ladies and gentlemen. When you use elaborate as an adjective, an elaborate plan, elaborate dress, we pronounce it as elaborate. But if you want to use it as a verb, can you please elaborate your answer? Elaborate. Like separate and separate, elaborate and elaborate. Yeah. In detail, absolutely, yeah. Containing a lot of careful details or many detailed parts, exactly. A dress can be elaborate if it's too colorful and full of patterns. A plan can be elaborate. Some preparations can be elaborate. Yeah, very good word. What about relentless? I love this. Relentless. Relentless heat. Something negative. Exactly. I mean, Victoria, yeah. It is not exactly terrible, but I like the way you think. Look, you are guessing. You can understand the meaning from the content. Perfect, merciless, solid. They're unbearable. Wow, Emil, tireless. Yay, good answers are coming. Yes, I mean, I would agree with most of these. Relentless means continuing in a severe or extreme, unbearable way. For example, you can say, I can accept criticism as long as it's not relentless. You know, some constructive criticism actually is very beneficial. As long as it's not relentless, I would take criticism very, very, very lightly. And I would welcome it. Persistent. By the way, Irene, persistent is with, there are no A's in persistent. Tent. Oh, I'm in such a teacher mood tonight. I hope I'm not boring you. You can say the you can say the heat is relentless rather than the weather. The cold is relentless. Oh, a question. I love questions. Intricate. What does intricate mean? Where is it there? Let me find the word in the text. Okay, right. But perhaps the most impressive features are the intricate decorative sculptures that embellish many stepwells. What does intricate mean, ladies and gentlemen? Not simple, Lilia. Wonderful. Sophisticated, Irina. Great. Mystic. Look, again, I love the way you think. Sophisticated, complicated, Gulner. Victoria, great. So I would agree again with most of you. I would say having a lot of small parts or details that are arranged in a very complicated, very sophisticated way. And sometimes, if something is intricate, it's not easy to understand. Knotted, exactly. Yeah. I love the way you think. Great. Um, oh, I wish I had a big IELTS class like this. Like when you study together, when all these words flood in, I think it's so good. Everyone benefits from it. Oh, stepwell. Stepwells are wells, Murigland. They're just wells or ponds in which the water is reached by descending a set of steps. It's a well in the end, with steps, as the name suggests. And so we were talking, yeah, stepwells. I have answered that question. Intricate, for example, what can be intricate? A machine, a mechanism can be intricate to repair. A plan can be intricate. A maze can be, a problem can be intricate. Oh, I don't know these words. What can I do? Chanurhan says, now remember what I said, the important three things? You cannot give up. You have to keep on, you have to persist, you have to keep on reading, you have to increase your level of English. Because, ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest with you, as a friend, I have to say, IELTS is not a very difficult exam, but it is indeed an academic exam. So, in order to achieve good scores, in order to achieve high scores, you need to be improving your vocabulary level. Churning. Churning, it's not well, it just means you mix milk until it becomes butter, you know. So everyday activities as women comb their hair, making butter or churning butter. That's what it means. All right. I think we've done this with text, and I think it was great. This, as I said, this is our very first reading and writing webinar. So it is a very first experience for us as well. Oh, embellish, Emil. Very good question. Can we go back to the text? Oh, look. Next time I will make a list of all these words. Let's go back, please. Guys, this is for Emil because definitely a good word. Embellish, embellish, where is it? Right. Features that are intricate, decorative sculptures that embellish many stepwells. Embellish means to make something, to add, to make something more beautiful or interesting by adding something to it. Like decorating, beautiful, including different details. Imagine you, okay, my weekend was very dull. Let's imagine that. Okay, my last weekend was very dull. But to make it more interesting, I can embellish it a little bit, dress up, beautify. Wow. You're like a dictionary, guys. Amazing. Emil, I hope you are satisfied with our answers. Oh, yes, of course. Emil is very happy. Great, great, great. And let's move on, please. Reading tips to remember. Now, I think I'm prepared 2 slides. Are there 2 slides? Reading tips to remember. Can we go forward just for a second? Exactly. Go back now. Thank you very much. Okay. Just wanted to remember. Right. So I will give you some time to read these items on these 2 slides. I grouped them under the title Reading Tips to Remember. And I want to talk about a few more things as you guys read. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Look out for the title, headings, any special features such as capital letters, underlining, italics, graphics, uh, figures, maybe tables. Search for those. Then read the first and the last sentence of each paragraph. Do you remember? Topic sentences, last sentences to get the general idea of the paragraph. And you're allowed to make notes around the article as you do this. Be clear what you're looking for and start scanning afterwards. The word or words you use must be taken from the reading text. You must not change the form of the word or words in the text. You're not paraphrasing. That's what I mean. No paraphrasing. You are taking the words exactly, precisely from the text as they are without changing the form. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Reading the questions with specific purpose. Now, this is the first thing. Read the instructions for each part of the paper carefully as well. Pay attention to the word limit. If the question now, here are the examples. Choose one word only from the passage for each answer. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Write 1 word and or a number for each answer. These are very important instructions that you have to follow. If the question says 1 word only and you write 2 words, although the correct word is included in your 2 words, you will lose the question. Question types I said. Let me think. And I have to remind you this. There are no penalties for wrong answers in IELTS. So technically, a blank answer and an incorrect answer are the same. And I suggest you attempt all the questions. You might be lucky, maybe. And again, there is no extra time. I know I've said this earlier, but I don't want you to have any bad surprises, bad experiences in the actual test. There is no extra time for you to transfer your answers. So be aware and transfer them at the end of as you do the questions, basically. Right. Wrong, exactly, Geeka. Wrong answer. If you have 2 words instead of 1, then you will lose the question. I think we have covered this slide. Right. Now, I think, again, there are 2 slides for reading resources. I'm not going to go through every single resource here, guys. When you have the link of tonight's show tomorrow, please go through the links. Learn English Magazine, Reading Skills Practice on Learn English Teens at .britishcouncil.org, Learn English Teens Magazine. My name is Seville. I introduced myself at the very beginning, but I would definitely write it there too. And next slide, please. So Education UK, the magazine, which is very good. Our Voices blog. This blog is, I think, useful. But again, you should go and see if it works for you too. Cubed magazine is another magazine for science and technology. I love the articles there. I use it for my lessons too. So I hope you benefit from these resources. That's why I put them all there. And I think we are ready to move on to the writing section. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't be chatting with you, right? While I'm giving the presentation. You don't expect me to start chatting with you and telling you how old I am and where I'm from and where I work and, let's keep it professional if possible, shall we? Right. Okay, the writing. You're so sweet. Okay, let's move on. To the first slide, please. Right. Here's a very brief slide, which covers both Oh, yeah, of course I know. I know, you're so sweet. Everything is going well, and I'm really enjoying tonight's show, guys. I hope you are too, and I hope you're learning something. So this slide shows you the basics of the writing test. And as you know, the writing test is divided into two parts, and you're expected to answer both of these questions in 1 hour. Task one differs depending on the module you are taking. Now, I need to be talking about the academic module task one and the general training module task one. Don't worry, we have time. I'll be doing so. Okay. In the academic module, you need to analyze a diagram. Applicants should identify 2 to 3 main significant points in each diagram and describe what they see. You may need to make comparisons between data too. In general training, however, there is a letter writing of at least 150 words. Oh, by the way, the same word count applies to the academic module task one as well. So you're writing at least 150 words, everyone. Candidates now. Okay, so we talked about that. For the general training test takers I'm talking to now, candidates are expected to explain their reason why they are writing this letter and address to all parts of the question. This is very important. You have to fully answer the question. For both academic and general training, candidates are expected to write at least 250 words for task 2. Here's a tip. Task 2 contributes twice as much as task 1 to the overall writing score. So if you are targeting high scores, you need to do task 2 well. Very important. In task 2, you need to develop your ideas and support them with examples, everyone. So again, the nitty-gritty, 150 words for task 1, 20 minutes. It's data analysis for the academic module, and letter writing for the general training module. Task 2, minimum 250 words, 40 minutes if possible. And you're writing an essay for this, both academic and general training. Now, wonderful question. No limits for maximum words. I was expecting to receive this question. Now, Monica, there are no maximum limits, but remember, your time is limited. We believe, as the British Council, task 1 can easily be achieved around 150 words, and we believe task 2 can be achieved around 250 words. I would say, when I see exam papers, when I look at exam papers, when I look at essays that manage to score 7.5, I see they don't write more than 180 words for task 1 and more than 285 words for task 2. So the more you write doesn't necessarily mean the better you write. Your time is limited, and if you write more, one more thing, you might be repeating yourself. All right, so just stick to the point. I usually say it in my lessons. I say, don't ramble. Don't say one thing in many different ways. No, say it once, state it clearly, support it with examples, and that's it. Absolutely, Victoria. The articles of, in, about, at, articles, they're all counted as words. Numbers, even if it's written in numbers too, it's a word. So yeah, that's important. You're very welcome, Victoria. Let me go up a little. I think I missed one question. Now, Azayali says, sorry, but I want to ask one question about reading. Is it good we spend 20 minutes for each section or not? Absolutely. Yes, it is. 20 minutes for each section. That's perfectly fine. One new message. Well, Which topic mostly we will face for writing essays? There is a variety of task types. Okay, I might give some examples. There is one task two example I will give you, but maybe I can give a list I can list some possible past exam questions. Okay, that's a very good idea. I will do that. I can't see what people write, says Mina. I'm sorry, darling. Me either. There might be a problem. All right, guys. Then I think you have to change some, yeah, to your two. Well, where is this? Now I lost mine too. Okay, I will find a way for each. I will find a way to help you. Wait. Oh, I've got great assistance on tonight's show. I found the way. Thank you very much. Please share, because I'm also trying to, not forget where I was and what I was talking about. Okay, so, and I'm trying to find questions about writing in order not to miss anything. Okay, so little time, maximum words we talked about. So little time. I'm sorry, Zen. 20 minutes for task one and 40 minutes for task two. I'm afraid that's all I can do. Mariglin is very happy with my answers. Wonderful to know. Structure, absolutely, Monica. We'll talk about the structure of task one. Absolutely, on your way in a few minutes. Now, oh, British Council, you saved my life. Guys, can you see the message from the British Council? In the chat box, please change the to option when writing so that everyone can see the comments. Perfect. Oh, 5 new messages. All right, great. Now, next slide, please. I'd rather not spend time on technical issues. I've got a wonderful assistant, many wonderful assistants actually. So let's see. Oh, writing assessment, lovely. Okay, now I think in order to produce good work, in order to reach high bands, you need to know how your work is assessed, how your work is evaluated. So, ladies and gentlemen, here are the 4 criteria. Task achievement for task 1, task response for task 2, cohesion and coherence, vocabulary, and grammar range and accuracy. I think 3 and 4 are pretty obvious. I want to talk about the first 2. Actually, let's start with task achievement and task response. Now, I'm going to answer the structured questions about task 1. Now, let's see. These criteria, task achievement and task response I'm talking about, these criteria focus on the degree to which the exam questions has been answered properly. That's what it means. Remember, in the academic module, there is a writing task of at least 150 words where you should summarize, describe, or explain a table, a diagram, a graph, some piece of data, basically. You might be expected to make comparisons successful in negotiating this academic task. I mean, you will need to identify all the key features in the diagram. By the way, you might lose points if important details are left out. So start with the most important, start with the significant stuff. Provide sufficient details for a meaningful explanation. Not too much detail and not too little. Now, I know it's so vague when I say, I know it sounds so vague when I say it, not too much, not too little. I know. But, how much do corrections made on the paper affect our grade? Well, so I've got this question. Could everyone hear? I said, how much do corrections made on the paper affect our score? Your corrections does not affect your score at all. You don't have to erase every single thing. You can cross out a word and rewrite it. That's fine. Oh, wait, I misunderstood your question. You mean your correction of your mistakes by the examiner? Right, I will come to that. Mina, spelling is very important. If you misspell words, you will lose points for sure. If you make grammar mistakes and if the examiner needs to correct something, you will definitely lose points for that, guys. Absolutely. We'll talk about coherence in detail. Absolutely, Gika. In the end, can we put our firm? What does that mean? Handwriting, Tazo, write as legibly as possible. Because if we cannot read your writing, how can we assess it? Can you think from our perspective, from our point of view? If we need to grade something, we need to be able to understand it. So if we can't read, we can't grade it. Sad but true. Now, where was I? We were talking about, well, I was talking about the task achievement and task response. And then, Gika, I'm going to move on to cohesion and coherence. Don't worry. So I think I said you need to be providing sufficient, again, vague, but you need to understand our the details about the task. Not too much, not too little. I'm trying to read the messages at the same time. Sorry if I'm just making no sense sometimes. Ensure accuracy when referring to the data, everyone, or when you're describing trends and processes. Be very careful with numbers, with percentages. It's important to write a clear overview. This means summarizing the most significant, most important trends or features from the data or information in the diagram. Now, in the general training module, there is a letter writing task of at least 150 words. In this task, explain the reason for the letter, include all the main points mentioned in the question, and use a consistent and appropriate tone in both modules. In task 2, again, I'm talking about task achievement and task response. In task 2, remember, there is a short essay task of at least 250 words. You're expected to present your opinion on a specific topic, supporting your ideas with evidence, examples. This is extremely important. In task 2, make sure you develop and support your ideas. Don't just mention them in a single sentence. I said this earlier, remember, and move on to the next idea. No, add explanations, add examples, or experience. It doesn't have to be first-hand experience. You can talk about things you have read about. You can talk about things you have listened to, you have heard of, and so on. And identify how many parts there are to the question and make sure you do everything you are asked to do. Before you write, plan your ideas. This is very important. So when you do this, most probably, criterion number 1 is achieved. Now, let's talk about the cohesion and coherence. This is one of the 4 criteria on which your writing will be assessed, obviously. Coherence refers to the flow of your writing. Your ideas should be logically organized, logically written, and appropriately sequenced into paragraphs, so they're easy to understand for the examiner, and it's easy to follow as well. And for Gika especially, cohesion refers to linking words that help you connect ideas and show the relationship between paragraphs, sentences, or parts of sentences. So this criteria looks at how a writing test answer is organized and how to link information and ideas. All right. Now, let's go to academic writing, task 1 question. Now, this is there are so many bullet points. Okay, now we will correct the presentation. Definitely, I'll correct these slides later. Now, it says, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The graphs give information about the computer ownership as a percentage of the population between 2002 and 2010, and by level of education for the years 2002 and 2010. Summarize by selecting or reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. This is the rubric of a typical academic writing task 1 question. Can we see the graph? Oh, there are 2. Okay, now we need to be working on these. I need to maybe find another question with 1 piece of data, or put these into 1 thing. Okay, now guys, have you seen? Can we please show the tasks again? Computer ownership, see 0 to 90, and on the y-axis, on the x-axis we have 2002, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and the percentages increased steadily starting from 2002 and 2010. There is definitely an upward trend. We have to mention this. Next one, please. And now here, computer ownership by education level, 2002 and 10. So on the x-axis, we see different education levels: no high school diploma, high school graduate, college incomplete, bachelor's degree, and postgraduate qualification. So this is a typical task 1 question. Now, how an ideal answer could be. Now, an ideal answer should first say what the bar charts show, what the bar charts give information about first. And then, you must go to sleep, Civil. Why do you say that? Do I sound tired? Do I sound sleepy? Oh, interesting. I wasn't expecting this comment at all. Oh, right. Now, there is one question that I've missed. Is British grammar preferred in IELTS? No, no, no. There are no cultural or linguistic bias in the IELTS test. Your accent is not graded. Your in the speaking sections, your pronunciation is important. And as to grammar, we only care about consistency. If you say, I'm going to talk about I'm going to be writing an American way, do it, but stick to it. If you write the word, say, color, COLOR in American spelling, right? If you write the word color in the American way in 1 paragraph, and say you write it with write it as COLOUR in the British spelling in the next paragraph, then we would think that you made a mistake because it's inconsistent. Stick to one or the other. That's what's important. But you don't necessarily need to stick to the British way. No, as I said, no cultural or linguistic bias. And then, have I missed any other? Ulgan, 2 paragraphs for what? 2 body paragraphs, exactly. 2 body paragraphs in task 2, absolutely, Ulgan, yeah. Is it better to use a lot of linkers? Towser asked. Well, if they're appropriate, if they work well, yes. All right. Can I use only simple tenses in task 1? Well, Arnold, no. If the for example, look at this sample question, 2002 and 10, all in past tense. I would definitely write everything in past tense, and I suggest you to do so. All right, I'm ready for all your questions, guys. Do we need a conclusion for task 1? Wonderful question. No, you don't. This is not an opinion essay. This is an analytical report. So, a conclusion is not necessary. I would say an introductory sentence where you paraphrase the question, an overview paragraph, and then a detailed paragraph would suffice for task 1. And so for this task, I was saying an ideal answer should say, should first say what the bar charts show, what the bar charts give information about. Here, I would say the bar charts show data about computer ownership with a further classification by level of education from 2002 to 2010. Then, an ideal answer should give an overview of the data, the most distinctive features of the data, maybe use the superlatives, the peaks, etc. What would I say? I would definitely mention, look, I'm just looking at the data now. How to select correctly? Tricky, we'll talk about that. If the overview paragraph is written, is there necessity to finish up task 1 with summarizing paragraph as well? Well, you can I understand the question now. Well, what you could do is you could stick to what I've just said, an introductory sentence, overview, detailed paragraph, or an introductory sentence, detailed paragraph, and overview at the end to make you feel better, to conclude all your ideas, to address to the main features of the data, would also work. Definitely, it would work. You're very welcome. And so we talked about the overview. It could either be in the middle or at the end. It depends on your plan. You can be a bit more flexible in task 1 because it's an analytical report. When I give teacher trainings, many teachers come up with 4 or 5 paragraphs sometimes, or one full body in task 1, and I cannot really say this is wrong, this is not wrong, because it's a report. I accept all those answers. But in most cases, I encourage my students to write in paragraphs because it almost always helps them think more clearly, helps them organize their work more clearly. That's why I do that. Well, Marie-Glen, to study at undergraduate and postgraduate levels, you need to be taking at least 6 to 6.5 from the IELTS exam. Now, about dyscalculia, Irene, I'm very familiar with this, by the way, and you just need to write a letter to the British Council because with special needs, we do cater for special needs, I mean. So just let us know. Or 7, exactly, at least, I meant to say. Yeah, many universities require 7, definitely. 6.5 I used most undergraduate in order to attend to many undergraduate and postgraduate study programs in the UK. You need to be taking at least 6 to 6.5 from the IELTS exam. Wow, Finland for 7. Yeah. But Finland education system, guys, we all admire them, huh? So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if they ask for 8, to be honest. Does task 1 always contain diagrams, or are these some other forms of diagrams, bar charts, pie charts, line graphs, maps, process diagrams, and well, there you are. Some link has been shared. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one, please. So, an ideal academic task 1 answer should say what the bar charts show, give information about. Remember what I said, give an overview, and then cover the rest of the main trends and significant trends. Item 2 and item 3 can be in any order. Move on to the next one, please. Okay, now, general training, writing task 1. Oh, I really need to reorganize this one as well. Now, let's read the question. You should spend about 20 minutes. This is a real IELTS exam question. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. You're going to another country, another country to study. You would like to do a part-time job while you're studying. So you want to ask a friend who lives there for some help. Write a letter to this friend. In your letter, give details of your study plans, explain why you want to get a part-time job, suggest how your friend could help you find a job. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses, so don't lose your time doing so. Begin your letter as follows, dear. So this needs to be a friendly, informal letter. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Now, what is an ideal general training task 1 answer? You need to make sure you answer the question fully. Now, let's be creative here. Does everyone remember the question? Let's go back to the question for a minute again. You're going to another country to study. You need a part-time job. We're asking a friend of ours. Let's move on, please. So let's be creative here. Let's imagine we're going to, let's say, Oxford for a 7-month intensive academic English course. And the institution, I'm thinking of a name, the institution should be called Best Academy of English. And it is located in Oxford City Centre. You do not want to burden your parents, so you had been saving for this course and you want to work there in order to earn some more pocket money. You also think that, oh my God, I'm very creative tonight. You also think that getting a job will help you make friends and socialize. So, and what else? Let's also say that you have worked at a vegan restaurant in your hometown. So waiting at table or answering the phone at a restaurant can be good options. And we can ask our friend to call some restaurants in the city center and find out whether they have some vacancies. How about that? I think by this answer, I ticked all the boxes of the question. And now, ideal task 1. Oh, well, Geeka, I've mentioned, remember I said introductory sentence and overview paragraph and a detailed paragraph. When you are sent the link tomorrow, please listen to it again, all right? It will be, I mean, you can listen to it as many times as possible. And then, so this would be an ideal general training answer. General training task 1 answer, obviously. Let's move on to the next one. Task 2. Now, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. Countries are becoming more and more similar because people are able to buy the same products everywhere in the world. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words. Now, this is a topic. You need to write an introduction paragraph first. And in the introduction paragraph, you should you should give your opinion there. Preferably, the last sentence of the introduction paragraph should state where you are standing in terms of this topic. All right? And then you should think of 2 body paragraphs, as Ulgan said, remember? 2 body paragraphs which should have 2 different central ideas. So you cannot be talking about the same thing in your body paragraphs, in 2 body paragraphs. Even if they both agree with the statement, or if they disagree with the statement, still they have to be discussing different aspects of the problem. Now, this is very important. This is a very common mistake. The 2 body paragraphs are talking about exactly the same thing. Big mistake. Then we think your English is not good enough to develop ideas, to approach one subject from two different perspectives, from from two different angles. So 250 words at least, Chagatai, yeah. It is a discussion as well. You need to be discussing your opinion, why you think that way. And let's move on to the next one, please. Now, here are again some details about an ideal task 2 essay. Please read the items on the list. They're quite important. And as you read, on top of everything on the slide, I would like to introduce you to the concept of power writing, power as in strength, Power. Now, in power writing, P stands for power, O stands for organizing, W stands for writing, E stands for evaluating, and R stands for revising. Now, first, plan, organize, write, evaluate, revise. I started with plan. Your plan, when I say plan, don't think of something elaborate, something intricate. Remember these words? Well, just a 1 minute plan I'm talking about. Not much. Where do I stand? What is my opinion sentence? What is my thesis statement? Think of this first, and then think of 2 aspects of the issue. That's it. Then your essay is done. So you will avoid rambling in this case. All right? And next slide, please. Right. More resources. As I said, I'm with students every single day. I know for a fact that preparation materials are very important to you. Once you have registered your IELTS exam with the British Council, you will have 30 hours of free training Road to IELTS. So I think you should benefit from this. And then our website, britishcouncil.org/take IELTS, learnenglish.britishcouncil.org, and the mobile applications. I'm sure most of you have smartphones. Please go to your application stores and type in British Council. You will have many free applications. IELTS Word Power is exclusively dedicated to IELTS, but there are many other useful applications. My favorites, my personal favorites, are audio and video. This is the name of the application. Audio. Oops, sorry. I'm planning to write, but I'm writing to British Council again, privately. So I changed that. Audio and video. And the other is Great Videos. I love this application. I use it at school. And many more. So I think you should definitely benefit from these applications. Now, let me see if I have I did miss some questions. Let me go through these. Now I'm going up. Yes, 250 words minimum. It's an opinion essay. If I choose the positive development, what if I only stick to one view? Can it be considered right if I do not mention the other side? No, it wouldn't, but you have to think of 2 different aspects. Why is that a positive development? Approach the issue from 2 different perspectives, because then your 2 body paragraphs will be the same. I don't want this. That's the main thing. If I have not any opinion, then I'm sorry, darling, you have to form some sort of opinion. What if I don't have ideas? That's why you should be reading, to help you with forming ideas. Yes, Victoria, I'm sorry I missed this question. Yes, you can take a separate sheet of paper if, sorry, I've just read the whole question. You don't need a separate piece of paper to write your notes. You can do the planning on your answer sheet. And if you need extra paper, I thought you asked, again, my answer is yes, you can take extra paper in the IELTS exam if you need. Minimum 4 paragraphs for task 2. 2 different positive futures, exactly. Oh, lovely. So, ladies and gentlemen, any more questions? Let's move on to the next slide, please. Time for more questions. How to support ideas? Think of examples. You can use quotes if you wish. You can use your own experience or second-hand experience if you want to. This is how you support your ideas. Well, Gressa, it doesn't have to be based on a true story, to be honest, because no examiner will Google what you write, to be honest. As long as it sounds good, as long as it sounds reasonable, rational, as long as it's relevant, more importantly, you will be fine. You can use your imagination. Yes, speaking and listening will be on a separate webinar. Well, there will be a wide range of topics, like the ones that we studied tonight is a common thing, you know, the consumption levels, rapidly increasing consumption levels, and different ways to minimize it and so on. So there will be a wide range of topics. Go to our website and see different task types, and you will see definitely more questions there. You will get this presentation to your email. You will be sent a link tomorrow. So have you enjoyed the webinar? I really want to know. Was it useful? Wow. Well, there are a few things that I need to figure out about the presentation, but still, oh, I'm so glad you found it useful. Amazing. It was great to be here. And it was definitely a good session tonight. You were you cooperated, you contributed greatly. Thank you very much. Oh, I will be making more. Don't worry. Lovely. Yes, 23rd November, I will be talking about listening and speaking exclusively. Great. So thank you for being here. I wish you the best of luck in your IELTS exams, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, is grammar important in answering? You will be using the exact same form of the word from the text, so you don't need to change anything grammar-wise. But grammar is very important in speaking, writing. Yeah, don't forget. So I wish all of you best of luck and a great evening tonight. Bye-bye.